Welcome everybody at home to Ohana Online, where we bring you the best of our studio right from the comfort of your home, your hotel room, whatever you've got going on, we're here for you. So today we have a good old-fashioned quickie, 20 minutes of a lot of core focus, a lot of butt, so you can, shake your groove thing and feel strong and supported from wherever you are. Start in a parallel squat. Turn your toes straight forward, bend your knees, take your seat back behind you. Notice how in this position, you can feel the gluteals engage so that you're super supported. Just take your hips little down, little down, little down, little down. So teeny tiny movements to start through foundation. Make sure you can feel the entirety of your foot pressed into the floor, especially through the center of the heel and the ball of your foot. You've got little lower, little lift, little lower, little lift. So it's teeny tiny pulsations of the hips. Notice every time you lift your hips up a little bit, you can feel the gluteals turn on. Now push your hands together. Feel the chest start to heat up. You've got this. 1 inch down, 1 inch down, 1 inch down, 1 inch down. 8, 6, 4, 3, 2. Take your right knee to your chest. Let's create a little bit of a stretch. So as you reach for the shin, see if you can lift your chest up even higher. It's through the elongation of your spine that you feel really grounded. If you'd like to take a little rotation, a little twist, take your time and turn your belly towards the right side as well. For any of my pregnant mamas watching this right now, make it very gentle and supportive so that you feel the strength of yourself, allowing your spine to revolve and evolve. Good, take your right foot back down to the floor. Other side, lift your left knee up. Basket grip the shin. Lift your heart up a little bit higher. As you turn on the base of your right seat, see if you can stand even taller. And if you'd like to take a little bit of a twist, take your time. Steady, stable, supported. Turn your chest to the left. We're gonna move with this activation and length and strength all connected. Back into parallel squat, left foot to the floor. So the movement will look like this. Lift your right knee and turn to the right. Lower your right foot down to the mat. Lift your right knee up to the ceiling. Back into parallel squat, other side. Lift your left knee up, twist left. Take your left foot down, parallel squat. Lift your left knee to the ceiling, stand tall. Lower your left foot down to the floor. We'll pick up the tempo. So you'll go right knee twist and right knee lift. Left knee twist, left knee lift. You got it. Twist right, lift and lengthen, twist left, taller, longer. Keep moving with your own tempo. So even if it's not matched to my tempo, you can twist and reach, twist left and reach. Keep going. Notice that as your body moves, you're able to come back to the foundation. Every time you get longer, your foot grounds down even further. Take it, twist, squat, lift, lower. Twist left, squat, lift, lower. 2 more times, each side. That's it. Move your body last time to the right, lower, lift. Last time to the left, lower, lift. Stand tall, reach your hands all the way up to the ceiling. Side body stretch over to your right. Grab your left wrist, reach all the way up and over. As you breathe through both side bodies, ground down through your left heel. Take your hands back up to center, reach for your right wrist, side body stretch over to the left. Long drinks of fresh air in and out through the lungs. Come back to your center, reach your hands all the way up to the ceiling, take a back bend, open up your chest. Reach your hands up high, take high plank, Bring your hands down to your floor. Walk your feet back. High plank position. Let's focus on the pelvis first. Lower your knees down to the ground. Then play a little bit with a micro cat in the pelvis, where you stick your butt up, and a micro cow in the pelvis, where you tilt your pelvis all the way under. Play a little bit with those two bookends, the micro cow and the micro cat. So you can start to feel where your own body engages and when your own body disengages. Then as you find these bookends, come into a modified plank pose with your pelvis in neutral. You should feel strength in the gluteals. You should feel a deep layer of support through the transverse abdominis. Okay, and then once you have that, take the center of your chest and lift it up just slightly. You'll feel immediate sensation in the low stomach, the deep low belly band. Once you have your pelvis in neutral, you may feel free to lift your knees off the floor. Keep the pelvis in neutral and just grow longer all the way through the top of your head. Notice how much heat, how much sensation this requires as you wrap the front of your rib cage in and you stretch the sides of your neck longer. And from this place of challenge and support, see if you can lift your thigh bones up and hug the front of your hip bones in. Stay right here and breathe for 8, 7, 6, child's pose in 4, 3, 2, child's pose. Take your knees towards the edges of the floor, the edges of your mat. Reach your hip bones back behind you and allow your chest, your forehead to draw towards the earth. Second deep core exercise is forearm plank. So rise, bring your forearms down to the mat. You've got two options. You can either keep your knees on the floor to be very supportive, or you can lift your knees off the floor for an extra challenge. Whether you have your knees down or your knees up, try to keep your hips really stable. Micro bend of the knees, so bend your right knee, bend your left knee, bend your right knee, bend your left knee. Little bend, little bend, little bend, little bend. If your hips are moving too much, you're not challenging the external obliques the way that you possibly could be. So make the movement really small in your knees and focus on the stability of your pelvis and your spine. Little bend, little bend, little bend, little bend. 8, 7, 6. You've got 4 counts, 3 counts, 2 counts. Extension stretch. Tap your knees down to the floor. Reach your fingertips forward as you lift your hip bones up. See if you can breathe all the way underneath the armpits, through the shoulder blades, as you let your chest, your forehead fall towards the floor. Take an inhale, exhale. Come up to tabletop so that you have alignment with your hips over your knees and your shoulders over your wrists. Layer 1 would be to stay here to work on pelvic stability and spinal stability. Layer 2, bring your knees together to touch, hug your inner thighs in. Layer 3, tuck your toes under, hover your knees off the mat. We'll keep your deep core thoroughly engaged and add a little bit of side seat activation. Diamond out your knees to the sides, squeeze your heels towards center, and press your thigh bones out. So little press, little press, little press, little press. Notice in the sides of your seat what activates as you spin your thigh bones out to the side. Little tiny press, press, press. Your shoulders might be fatiguing. Your deep core might be fatiguing. So So you start to accentuate the spine even longer. You just have 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Bring your knees together to touch. Downward facing dog. Step your feet back. Lift your hip bones up. And breathe. Inhale. Exhale. Lift your heels. Walk your feet forward to your hands. Come on down to your seat, and we'll continue to work the deep core. As you take your feet forward in front of you, bend your knees, place your feet on the mat. Hands to your shins for high V. Lift the center of your chest up. So the goal here will be to keep your low belly flat and your low back flat. So instead of the outer layers of abdominals turning on, it's the deep core that we're activating. Draw your shoulders back, draw your chin back, reach your arms straight forward in front of you. Start to hinge back a little bit from this position so your pelvis stays in neutral, your spine stays in neutral. We'll take little rows of one arm at a time. Bend your right elbow, row it back to the side. Reach your right arm forward and reset. Other side. Left elbow bends, row left, reach your left arm forward and extend. Again, go right arm, reach, take it left arm row, reach, twist to the right and reach, twist to the left and reach. Keep going. It's right arm row, reach long, left arm row, extend through the fingers. Take it right and right, reach long, last time, left and left, and reach. So from here, check back in with your abdominals. Are they puffing out at all, or can you hollow them down and in? If you need support, take your hands behind your legs. Come back to the deep core connection of your pelvic floor, your deep transverse abdominis, and the lift of your chest up. We'll take little tiny tips of the pelvis right here. So little tilt under, come back to neutral. It's a micro tilt of the pelvis and back to neutral. Your belly sinks, back to neutral. Your stomach flattens, back to neutral. Your rib cage knits, back to neutral. And everything softens at the outer layer. So just take it, little tilt, neutral, and one more tilt. Hold it there. See if you can take, it's like an ice cream scoop where you scoop out everything from your low belly to your rib cage. And as you hollow it out, come back to the reach of your arms forward in front of you. Roll the shoulders back. Lift the center of your chest up. And squeeze your inner thighs together. Hold here, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Roll all the way down to your back. Slow, 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 slow. All right, we come to flat back on the floor, but let's find neutral first. So your knees bend, your feet are on the floor. Make sure that you have a little teeny tiny space underneath the low back. It's very small. From a neutral pelvis and a neutral spine, lift your heels off the ground. We'll take the same pelvic tilts that we found when we were in modified plank. So, tilt your pelvis under, flatten your low back to the floor. Tilt your pelvis forward, larger space in your low back. Tilt your pelvis under, your back flattens. Tilt your pelvis forward, your low back lifts. So, micro tilt under, micro tilt forward. Little tilt under, little tilt forward. 2 more. Tilt back, tilt forward, and now tilt back. Okay, so find neutral where you feel the low, deep belly, the transverse abdominis engage, but you still respect the little teeny tiny space underneath the low back. Okay, there's length there, but there's deep core activation that holds everything steady. Then bend your elbows, your fingertips face the ceiling. Lift your right foot off the floor and stabilize the pelvis. We talked about this when you had little tiny knee bends when you were in plank pose. The priority here is to keep your pelvis uber stable, okay, so it doesn't move. Take your right toes away from you, they dip forward. Bring your right knee back over center. Again, it's right foot forward, the toes reach, and right knee back, it aligns over the hip. Take it out and out, in and in. Reach it forward, pull it back. 2 more times, leg moves forward, your leg pulls back. Last time. As you pull your right knee over your right hip, see if you can hover your left toes off the ground. Now reach your hands straight up to the ceiling. Keep your low belly band as flat as you can possibly get it. Curl your head, your neck, your shoulders off the ground. Reach your hands forward towards the front of your space. Start to curl your ribs up. Little curl, little curl, little curl, little curl. You can always take a moment to glance down at the outer lower abdominals. See if you can flatten them as much as possible. So the outer layer, the rectus abdominis layer, it starts to soften. And instead, the deeper layer, the transverse abdominis, your pelvic floor, they all start to tighten and support. You have 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Lower your left toes down. Lower your head, your neck, your shoulders down. Keep your hands right above your shoulders. We'll add the arm and the leg combo. So as you take your right leg forward, reach your left arm back. Keep your pelvis super stable, super active. Bring your right knee back over your hip, left hand over the shoulder. Reset and realign. 2 counts, out and out. Bring it into center. Extend away, pull it back to center. Reach it out and out, pull it in and in. Last time, out and out, and in and in. Now keep everything super steady, super stable. Bring both of your knees together. Either knees stay bent or your legs go long. Reach your feet forward. Keep neutral in your pelvis. Hug your inner thighs in. Reach your arms back and see if you can hollow out as much as possible, all the way from your pubic bone underneath your rib cage. Stay here, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, reset. Both toes down to the mat. Find neutral in your pelvis. Bend your elbows. Other side. Lift your left toes only from the floor. Your right heel can absolutely lift from the ground. Left leg is out a little bit. Bring it in a little bit. Stretch your left toes forward. Pull them back to center. Extend the leg. Your knee over your hip. Take it out and out. Bring it in and in. Last time, reach the toes. Pull back towards center. Stabilize everything in the hips and the spine. Reach your hands straight up to the ceiling. If you want more, hover your right toes off the ground. By keeping everything flat in the lower belly, lower stomach, lift your head, your neck, your shoulders off the ground. Keep your pelvis uber steady. Start to curl the ribs up an inch, up an inch, up an inch, up an inch. Little curl, little curl, little curl, little curl. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Lower your head, your neck, your shoulders, and your right toes as well. This time your right arm will move with your left leg. 2 counts, right arm back, and back to center. So you work in contralateral opposition. You'll take it out and out, and in and in. And in this way, the external obliques will help stabilize. One more time. And in and in. With everything you've got, lift both feet off the floor. Either knees bend or knees straight, you decide. Keep your lowest belly band as soft, as hollow as you possibly can. Take your feet forward, take your arms back behind you. Squeeze everything into the midline. Challenge the stability of your pelvis with your deep and down at the front of the body, the rib cage, your stomach, your navel, your low belly band, everything between the hip bones. Hold here, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pull your knees into your chest and give yourself a squeeze. Rock a little bit side to side. And we'll come into back dancing for some seat work. Place your feet on the ground, your knees are bent. Lift your hips up Let your stomach release just a little bit so there's some stretch. Feel the base of your glutes turn on. Your elbows bend, your fingertips face the ceiling. We'll start in small range. Little lift, little lift, little lift, little lift. So as you get used to this little teeny tiny movement of your hips, notice what's turning on right now. You should feel a ton of heat in the abdominals after we just did, and some heat generating at the base of your seat. You've got little lift, little lift, little lift, little lift. Okay, this little teeny tiny motion, you think, what am I really doing right now? What you're doing is keeping your pelvis still stable, especially through the deep core, while we isolate the gluteus maximus. You've got 1 inch up, 1 inch up, 1 inch up, 1 inch up. As you allow your shoulders to fall a little bit heavier to the mat, see if you can keep your front low rib cage in and down. Your hips lift, 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 lift. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Hold your hips up. Walk your feet and your knees together. Keep everything really steady in the low body. Either lift your right heel off the floor or lift your right leg off the floor up to the ceiling. Start to pulse. Little lift, little lift, little lift, little lift. At any time, if you need support, simply take your right toes back down to the ground. If you're feeling really strong and steady in the left leg, then lift your right toes back up to the ceiling. You've got 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Keep the hips lifted. Wrap your right leg on top of your left leg like eagle legs. Squeeze the inner thighs together and lift your hips up a little bit higher. From here, lower the hips to hover. Lift your hips up to the ceiling. It's down and down. Lift and lift. Keep squeezing your thighs in towards one another. This starts to internally rotate the thigh bones. You'll feel more heat, not just the gluteus maximus, but the upper rim of the left seat. That's the glute med turning on when your hips lift to the ceiling. It's lower, lower, lift and lift. Take it down and down, take it up and up. 2 more, lower 2, lift 2, last time lower, last time lift. Lift your right leg back up to the ceiling, feel your left heel firm. Squeeze everything in the inner thighs. Just 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take your right foot to the floor. This time, in between sides, open your knees out to the side. Keep your heels grounded, lift your toes off the floor. From here, you'll go lift, lift, squeeze. Lift, lift, hold. Up, up, squeeze. Lift, lift, hold. It's lift, lift, and hold it. Up, up, and hug. Lift, lift, and squeeze. Up, up, and hold it. Up, up, and hug. Up, up, and squeeze. Lift, lift, and hold it. Lift, lift, and squeeze. Keep doing this type of tempo, this type of work. Come back to the knowledge of the deep core inside your body. Your front low rib cage is still guiding inwards, and you're super strong in the sides of your body. It's lift, lift, and hold it. Lift, lift, and squeeze. 2 more. Lift, lift, and hold it. Lift, lift, and squeeze. Bring your knees back together to touch. Let's isolate the right glutes now. Either lift your left heel off the floor, or for more, lift your left toes straight up to the ceiling. And now the right leg goes lift, lift, lift. So it's your right gluteus maximus that's taking charge here. Your core is super steady and stable. If you need a layer of support, drop your left toes down and just keep the heel lifted off the floor. You've got this. Little lift, little lift, little lift, little lift. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take your left leg on top of your right leg for eagle legs. Little bit more range of motion here. So lower your hips to hover, lift your hips up to the ceiling. It's down and lift and lift. Take it lower, lower, lift up to the ceiling. Down and down, lift and lift. So a little bit more movement in the pelvis. Identify what's working in the deep body. As you hover the hips, then lift them up to the sky, you'll notice your right upper seat rim turn on. Go down and down, lift and lift. One more time, and lift. Okay, unwrap the legs. Take your left foot down to the floor. Walk your feet a little bit wider, bring your knees in together to touch. You're ready for this. If you want even more, lift your heels off the floor. Squeeze your thighs, lift your hips. Squeeze your thighs, lift your hips. Squeeze, lift, squeeze, lift. In, up, in, up. This is your final push of the seat work and this exercise. It's in, lift, in, squeeze. Go in an inch, go up an inch, hug it in, lift it up. And the coolest part is that this is your final push of this whole 20-minute exercise series. So give it everything you got right now, everything you can to hug it in, to lift it up, to squeeze it in, to lift it up. Just 8, 7 more times, 6 and lift, 5 and lift. 4 counts, 3 counts, 2 counts, last time. Hold everything in, separate your knees in line with your heels, reach your hands up to the ceiling because you are a total empowered being in this world. Feel the muscles turn on, feel the steadiness that you've created in your body. Hold it right here. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower your hips, pull your knees into your chest. Give yourself a squeeze. And guess what? You, here, today, right now, strong, empowered, able, head to toe. Thank you so much for joining Ohana Online. You're a total genius, and I'll see you here soon.